All right, so real quick, I just want to go over percent of change and percent of a number. So the first one here I'm looking at is percent change. So percent change, real quick, is just if I see the word percent change, I think of the expression change over original. Okay, change over original. And so what does that mean? Change in basic words means subtraction. So think there, how much did it change? That means I went from 6 and I went to 9. Well, that means there was a change of 3. And then what was the original? Well, I was from 6 to 9, so original was 6. Okay, and then 3 out of 6, well, you can just simplify that by 3, and you get 1 over 2. Well, I know 1 over 2 is 0.5, and I know to make this a percent, all I gotta do is move it 1, 2, and I get my percent, which is, and if I'm gonna put a 0 here, and so my answer is 50%, and 50% what? Well, 50% increase because we went from 6 to 9. So this would be 50% increase, okay, which would be the answer there. Okay, just like that. Okay, and so now let's look at another problem similar to this. Let's look at number 8 there. Okay, from 20 to 8, again, you're going to use the change over the original. Okay, remember this is the percent change. So how much did it change? It went from $20, it went down to $8. So there was a change. Well, 20 minus 8, if you don't see it mentally, subtract and regroup, and you get 12. And so the change is 12 over, what's the original? The original is, well, it went from 20 to 8. Usually it's the first number given to you, but not always, okay? But this time it is because it says from this to that. So from 20, so that's the fraction. Now, we're going to simplify this because I can make it smaller, reduce, before I try to do it using table, which is dividing. I can simplify it by 2. 12 divided by 2 is 6. 20 divided by 2 is 10. Okay. I can see here that I can make it even smaller by 2 again. 6 divided by 2 is 3. 10 divided by 2 is 5. And from here, or from here, either or, I should be able to see the decimal of this. Well, 6 out of 10, 6 out of 10 dimes is the same as 3 out of 5, which is 0.60. If I move the decimal 2 times to the right, I'll get 1, 2, which gives me 60%. And we went down, so it's a 60% decrease. Okay, 60% decrease. I'll do one more here. Again, we went from 10 inches to 12 inches. Okay, we went down 2, that's the change. What's the original? Well, from 10 inches to 12, that means that was a 10 first. And then I can simplify that by 2 if I don't see it, which is 1/5. And I know 1/5 as a decimal is 0.20. And then if I move the decimal 2 times, 1, 2, I get 20%. 20% what? Well, it went up, so 20% increase. Okay? All right, let me go to the other side. I'll do a few of these. Now this is where you're going to use the equation is over of equals part over total. Okay? Of course, remember, this is the same thing as, I'm sorry, look, I already made a mistake. Not this one. It's is over of equals percent over 100, which is the same thing as saying part over total equals percent over 100. So we're going to use this one, of course, because it's the is and the of, because of the problems have the word is and of. If they said something about part and total, when we would use this, but it's the same thing. The is the same as the part, and the of is the same as the total. Okay. So let's look at number 19. So number 19. First, I write the percent proportion, which is what this is, the percent proportion, and I put the 100 there. Okay. It says there, what is? Oh no, sorry. It says 9 is 41% of what? Well, look at your percent proportion. Look, the percent is on top of the 100. Now I know it says there 9 is 41%, but remember, all percents go on top of the 100. No matter the word is and of are next to this, as long as there's a percent sign, that goes on top of the 100. So I'm going to put it there. And then it says 9 is, see? And the word is on top. So that means that this number goes on top. And then you put an X. You cross multiply, you get 41x equals 900. And then you're going to divide by whatever's next to the X or next to the variable. So 41. And so now 900 divided by 41. Well, 41 into 90 goes in twice. That gives me 82. Subtract. I get 8. Bring down the 0. 41 into 80 is 1. I subtract. I get 39. I add a 0 and I must add a decimal there. And so 41 is 390. And I always try 5, and maybe I get lucky the first time. 5, 20, no, they didn't give me the answer. So I'm going to try 7. 7, 28, getting closer. 41 times, let's try 9. I get what, 9? And 9 times 4 is 36. And so I get 369, which is pretty close. Okay? And I'm not going to continue this problem because that's as far as I want to go. And so I'm going to put there 21.9. From there I can round out to the nearest whole number if I wanted to. Okay, 21.9. Okay, let's look at another one. Let's look at okay, let's look at number 16. 16 again, we're going to use the same thing, same proportion equation. 100 there. Again, do they give you a percent? Right there. That always goes on top of the 100. Even if the word of is next to it. If it's a percent, it goes on top of the 100. See? Right there. Percent over 100, percent over 100. So 28 over 100. Of is at the bottom, so of goes at the bottom, which is 25. Put an X, cross multiply, you get 100x equals 25 times 28, which gives me 700. And so now I just divide by the variable or the number in front of the X. It's not always going to be 100. It depends on what's next to it. And so now I can cross out zeros and I know X is equal to 7. Okay, which is the answer. Okay, I'll do one more. Look at number 14. Okay, again, we're going to use is over of equals percent over 100. So I think there. Do they give me a percent? No, they don't. No number has a percent next to it, so they don't give me this number here. So that means they give me the 7 is either the is or the of. So, and they even ask you what percent. Of 7, you see where the of 7, so where's the of? At the bottom. Is 21, so is on top. And we put an X. And so now we get 7x equals 2100. You divide by what is in front of that variable, which is x, and then 2100 divided by 7. Well, 7 goes into 21 3 times. And that means that, well, this will be just 0, so I can just put them up here. And my answer is going to be x equals 300, and it's, the question was what percent, so this answer is going to have the 300%, only because the question was what percent. Okay, I did 3 examples, hopefully you can do the rest. If not, try the best you can. Alright, see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.